beetles, bees, ants, and spiders. All kinds of bugs. That's what we're after.
9-year-old Theodore Roosevelt was standing under an old tree in the yard of his family's summer home in the country. The two younger members of his expedition were his brother and sister, Elliot and Corinne.
Now, when we get to the woods, let's pretend that we're on a safari going into Africa.
What's a safari? Don't ask questions, Coney. Just do as T.D. says.
Ellie, you can be an elephant, and Coney, you be a lion. And when I tell you to, come crashing and roaring through the jungle. Roar! 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 Roar!
His nickname was T.D., and whatever he thought up to do was always certain to be exciting. As he grew older, he graduated from bugs to mice and other small beasts. He'd bring them home either as pets or to show them in the private museum in his room. Now, in his collection were such things as snake skins, live mice, dried up toads, bird feathers, and all kinds of rocks and bones. And whether they were dead or alive, his little trophies always managed to cause a good bit of commotion in the Roosevelt household. Oh, they didn't smell too good either. One morning, a new housemaid went to dust Theodore's room.
Whatever happened? It's T.D.'s room, Mom. It's a den of horrors. Oh, I am not cleaning up there until them ghosts is gone.
Hello, Mama.
Good afternoon, Kate. You? Ah! What's the matter with Kate, Mama?
You, Mr. Scientist. Kate says she refuses to clean your room in the state that it's in. I can't say that I blame her. We will have to find a new space for your museum, T.D.
But I don't want another space.
If you collect anything else, you won't have any place to put it in your room except your bed. And you don't want to sleep with snakes and bones, do you?
I don't mind. I'll clean my room myself.
T.D., we will have to find a new space for your museum. And while we're at it, we will untie the snapping turtle from the laundry tub. Furthermore, your papa said that you were not to keep green grass snakes in the water pictures in the guest room anymore, nor chipmunks in the bureau drawer. And this morning, I found 2 dead field mice in my icebox, which you are going to get rid of immediately.
Theodore Roosevelt was born in 1858 in New York City. Besides having extremely poor eyesight, he was thin and sickly and had a very bad case of asthma, which often left him choking and gasping for breath. So it was quite a treat whenever he was well enough to play with his brothers and sisters. An event that left a deep and lasting impression upon young Theodore was the day he and his family sadly watched as President Abraham Lincoln's funeral procession passed through New York City.
Poor Mr. Lincoln. If he had not been president, he would not have been shot.
My son, Mr. Lincoln gave his life for his country. Like a soldier who dies in battle. A man who's president must be willing to sacrifice everything for all other Americans, even his own life.
One day, Theodore's father took him aside and had a man-to-man talk with him.
T.D., you are developing your mind, but not your body. And without the help of the body, the mind cannot go as far as it should. You must make your body strong. I know you can do it.
Then, Theodore's father bought him a punching bag, a set of dumbbells, and other gymnastic equipment. And Theodore faithfully set to work to build up his muscles. He even took boxing lessons. And he spent as much time as he could in the fresh outdoors to help hold down his asthma attacks. By the time he entered Harvard College, at the age of 18, he was in excellent physical shape. At Harvard, he took an active part in sports and was elected to the College Honorary Society. After he graduated, he married a pretty blue-eyed girl from Boston named Alice Lee, and they settled in New York City, where he studied law for a while. Now, you see, politics had always interested him. So he joined a local Republican club and at 23 became the youngest member ever to be elected to the New York State Assembly. It wasn't long before people were calling him the young reformer. A reformer is a person who tries to make things better. And there was a great need for people like Theodore Roosevelt back then. You see, in those days, the late 19th century, New York City politics was taken over by dishonest party bosses who had their candidates elected through crooked groups known as political machines. And Roosevelt the reformer was out to clean them up.
Gosh, Mr. Roosevelt, I sure heard a lot of talk about you. You're the fellow who's stirring up such a row about that judge down in New York City.
Well, that's true, Benny. The judge is dishonest and everyone knows it. No one does a thing about it.
There's a lot of dishonest men in this state, ain't there, Mr. Roosevelt?
Well, I'm afraid so. But I think most of the men in the Assembly want to do what's right for the people. The trouble is that the honest men don't fight hard enough sometimes against the crooked ones.
Uh-oh. Don't look now. Here comes trouble.
Here you are. Roosevelt, I'm warning you. Don't do any more talking in the Assembly against the judge. He happens to be a friend of mine. Now, you keep it up, and I'll make real trouble for you.
I'll say and do exactly as I please, Mr. Kinzer.
I'm the boss of the Assembly, and we'll do things my way, you young whippersnapper, and don't you forget it.
Gosh, he's as mad as a turkey cock, ain't he, Mr. Roosevelt?
Well, he doesn't scare me. I'll continue to fight for exactly what I think is right.
In 1884, three things happened, one right after the other, which brought both joy and great sorrow to Theodore Roosevelt. On a cold morning in February, his first child, a girl, was born. The following day, his mother died from typhoid fever. And a few hours after that, his young wife, Alice, died also from problems brought on by childbirth. Yet, even in his deep sorrow, Theodore didn't forget the job to which the people of New York had elected him. And so within a few days, he was back in the State Assembly fighting for good government. And when his work in the Assembly was completed, he left the care of his baby girl in the hands of his older sister, Anna, packed his things, and traveled west to the Dakota Territory to take up cattle ranching. As a rancher, just as in politics, Theodore Roosevelt never fought unless he had to. But when he did fight, oh, he fought hard.
For a city slicker, that fancy-talking maverick sure makes one mighty good bronco buster. I tell you, Will, he had his grip on this wild bucking critter, see? Just like grim death, he's hanging on. Everything went flying off. Hats, spectacles, six-shooter, they all took the count. Not that dude. There was no break in his grip.
You recollect when Teddy first come out here? We called him Tenderfoot then.
Tenderfoot, shoo. Ain't no man can kill grizzly bears and shoot running antelope the way he can, no tenderfoot.
That's for sure. Well, I've been on the range with him road all day. Come sundown, he's fresh as a coat.
Roosevelt worked as hard as any ranch hand at his cattle business. He spent weeks at a time in the saddle on roundups, enduring the hardships of the open range cheerfully. And when he wasn't working his cattle, he found time to write, turning out books and articles about ranch life, about the history of the West, about politics, and about his big game hunting adventures. In 1886, a citizens committee in New York City asked Roosevelt to return and run for mayor. So he gave up ranching, ran for mayor, and promptly lost. Later that year, he married for the second time. The new Mrs. Roosevelt, named Edith, had been a childhood playmate. Eventually, the Roosevelts became the loving parents of 6 very energetic children. In 1895, Roosevelt resigned his Washington, D.C. job as United States Civil Service Commissioner to become the police commissioner of New York City. He did such a fine job that the President of the United States, William McKinley, picked him to be the Assistant Secretary of the Navy. Less than a year after his appointment, the U.S. warship Maine was blown up in the harbor of Havana, Cuba. Soon after, President McKinley issued a proclamation which said that since Spain owned Cuba,